Good afternoon, guys. Hi,
Hey,
guys.
how's it going? How's it going? What's up, guys? Welcome, welcome.
What's up, guys?
Thanks for joining us on this. Let me see. Still raining? It's kind of raining here. It's rainy evening via Zoom. How's everyone today? How's classes today? Everyone's good. Crickets? Okay, okay. That's nice.
I'm good. Thanks.
Nice, nice, nice.
Doing good.
We're gonna start in like 3 minutes, just in
Mhm.
case everyone's.
Okay, cool. Yeah, just awesome. Yeah, in the chat. That's cool. I'll keep the chat little tab open just so I don't miss anything. Definitely, like whenever you guys have questions, though, just definitely throw the questions in the mix, and then I'll just like while we're whatever, we just kind of read over them. 2 seconds.
Wilfredo, are you recording it or Kyle? You're recording it.
Yeah, I started the recording.
Okay.
Turn off the waiting room too.
The what?
The waiting room.
Should we start? Or should we wait? I don't know. Kyle.
I guess we can probably start now.
Yeah.
What time is Camille at her class?
Oh, that's 6:30. So
6:30. Okay, that's
yeah.
fine.
Okay, that's cool. We can start.
So, quickly, thanks guys for joining us. So, this is the FIU Pre-Dental DAT Workshop for the fall 2020. So, yeah, I've already taken the DAT, so I kind of like, I guess kind of know the ropes. I did take it twice too, so yeah, so definitely like a learning experience. So, I have a lot of like, I guess, wisdom to give. So, well, at least I hope I do. I don't know. We'll find out. So, yeah. And again, Kyle, I'm Kyle, UCSO representative. And yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It's not letting me actually like go to the next page. Okay, cool. There we go.
Okay. So we're gonna talk about basically debt pin, which is the number you guys need for your DAT. Applying for DAT, scheduling your DAT, the cost, the exam basics, the section, like literally section by section, we'll go over everything. The resources that you guys can use, courses to take before DAT, meaning like the classes you can take that can help you, and when to take the test.
So the DEN pin is basically just a number that you sign up for. Almost like everyone has it. Like so, you kind of get it early as a pre-dental student and use that same DEN pin throughout your like actual, I think, dental career. Like even like the dentist has a DEN pin and they log in or whatever. So yeah, that's pretty much it. But actually getting the DEN pin, you have to go through this website here. We'll also leave the links and the PowerPoint, send that out later too, so it's nice and easy for you guys. So yeah, applying for the DAT. So still, you need the DEN pin in order to actually apply for the DAT and take the DAT. So some red flags you need to look out for. Just make sure all of your personal information, everything's matching up to par and everything like that. So
And especially your name, because on the bootcamp group chat, there is a bootcamp Facebook group chat that you guys will join hopefully whenever you take the course. And everyone asks like a lot of questions about application, about everything. And a lot of people mess up on their names. So if you put your name wrong or your middle name, like they're not gonna let you in the center. And actually, you can't take your test. So make sure whenever you guys sign up, like you have the exact same exact middle name and exact last name.
That's facts. That's facts. And really quick, let me go back over here. So yeah, so the test is actually 475, and yeah.
All right. So when should you guys schedule your DAT? So for scheduling, um, you guys can go to the following page, which is www.parametric.com, and they will like you would put your address in, and you will find like the locations that's best for you. Somebody trying to come into the room. But you gotta make sure that your test location is correct before like you admit your appointment, because sometimes like you can get messed up and like get the wrong location. So also like you guys can keep like looking at it. I went in there like a lot of times to find the testing day because they open and close, so you have to like kind of like know what date you want to take it around and look for it, around that time. I recommend like taking at least like 2-3 months um, to study for your tests.
More than,
And yeah, if you
I
want
would
to,
say 3 to
well, yeah,
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
yeah, that's like the study time, and then leave a little room on the side, like after, just so you guys have like extra time if you have like a day off or like some days you can't study. Um, you should have like some extra time there. But yeah, so try to prepare as well as best as you guys can, so you guys don't have to retake it. And yeah, next slide.
So wait.
Yeah, yeah.
So this link that we included here, this is the same one for rescheduling, and there's and the link when you'll see whenever you're signing up, you have to put basically your zip code, and then it'll show you like different test locations. And personally, my test location was in Fort Lauderdale first time because I didn't pay attention. I just scheduled it, and then thank God, like I could reschedule to Miami. So make sure again your test location is correct, and yeah, just wanted to add that.
That's what's up.
I have a question.
Yes.
Does it matter where do you go
Not really.
in your results?
Not really at all. I mean, you normally pick where it's close to where you live. So it doesn't matter. You can go to Fort Lauderdale, you can go to Davie. It really doesn't matter. But is that you want it? The test is normally like starts at 8. Some tests are at 8. Some tests are at 8:30 a.m. Some are like at 1 p.m. Some are at 12.
Yeah. And
So
another thing also too. So it's like if you wanted to like reschedule, most likely if you do it like last second, the one that is closest to you will probably be booked. So for me, last year, the first time I took it, I actually had to like drive to Boca, and I live in Miami. I live in like Miami, so it was kind of a bop. I'm not gonna lie. So definitely, you just have to be really proactive when you're doing this kind of stuff, like scheduling or whatever, and just and also like certain days will just like pop up randomly because a lot of people will end up like rescheduling or whatever, whether it's like a week or 2 weeks, a month, doesn't really matter. But definitely just kind of like be vigilant of that for sure. So that's huge. You can get like a you know reasonably good day for you, and like when you'll be ready to take it, that's key.
close to you because, for example, if you schedule it in Boca, you have to wake up. If it's in Miami, let's say you have to wake up at 6 a.m., you have to be there 1 hour before your test starts. And
Yeah.
if you schedule it in Boca, you have to wake up, I don't know, 5 a.m., 4 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like just avoid that at all costs because that was kind of like that was tough. That was tough.
Someone asked how many weeks beforehand you should schedule the test.
So like if so we're gonna go kind of into that later, but basically you want to take it like it just depends on the cycle too. So like every cycle opens up like June 2nd. I'm sorry, yeah, June 2nd.
Yeah,
But this cycle opened a little later, so it's like June 16th or whatever. But basically you want to kind of like take it early or whatever, and so you can be applying in the cycle early.
Yeah,
So it just kind of depends. So you want to, so 4 to 6 months before. Yeah, exactly.
we'll
So
talk about when to take it later on. It's like in another slide.
Yeah,
Let's
exactly,
talk
exactly.
about it for like
Could I just ask something? Like, I'm sure that this has been mentioned before, but I I forget. How long are your results for your DAT valid?
For I believe 2 years, is it?
Yeah, it's
I
like
think
two.
so, yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
2
Something
years.
like
I
that,
think
yeah.
it might be 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I want to say 3, honestly. Yeah, I think it's 3.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No problem. So
I was just signing up for mine. It says 2 years.
Yeah.
it's 2 years?
Okay,
Okay,
cool.
so disregard, yeah, so 2 years. Disregard.
And
Got
I
it.
think it takes like 4 weeks for your results to be sent to like whichever schools, or not to the schools, but to the ad test.
Yeah, so yeah, it has to be validated and make sure like so you get the day of, like as soon as you click submit, you have to do like a 15-minute survey. And then right after that, you get your results right then and there. So it's kind of like a plus, but also a minus. It's like, but that's the unofficial score report that you get like the day of the day you take the DAT. And then after that, it's like 4 weeks, like you said. So then you get the official score report. Mine honestly came in like 3 weeks, so that was kind of like a plus. But usually it's like 3 to 4 weeks for sure.
Are the scores different? Like, is it usual that they change scores, like they grade something different and that type of thing, or was it pretty much the same?
No, I actually like looked into that. I looked into so many like threads and stuff and forums, and yeah, like basically it's just like if something fishy was to happen during your actual test, or like they kind of like review, I guess, the cameras or something, or if you got red flagged or something, whatever it was, they kind of like take that into consideration, just like review your actual like test and make sure everything's like looking okay or whatever. But for the most part, your unofficial score will be your official score.
Yeah, it's 99.9% the same.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go to the next slide.
Quick question. What's the closest testing center to FIU?
The closest one is in Miami. Yeah. That's the one yeah.
So,
And then the next one, so it's Miami, then it goes to Fort Lauderdale, and after that, I think it's Boca. I think there's like only really like 3 down here.
I have a question. If you get a score that you're not happy with, do you have to report that to dental schools?
Yeah, well, you don't. So the thing is with that though is like they see it regardless. Like there's nothing you can do about it. So if you get a score that you're not happy with, they will see it regardless of if you're not happy with it. It doesn't matter. Like they're gonna see it. So my advice to that though, for sure, would be like the second time you have to improve. Like
Yeah.
So
yeah. Just study hard the first time to get
exactly. So just come in with a mentality and like the mindset, just basically like I have to do good this one. Even if you make a few mistakes, so like I wouldn't. We'll get into that later. But
okay, guys, let's finish the PowerPoint and then we'll start with all the
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this.
All right, so scheduling your DAT, you guys have to confirm your exam 48 hours in advance in order to, prevent any issues from happening. When you cancel your exam, you don't get a refund, and rescheduling the rescheduling fees are like shown below. So depends, like if you reschedule 31 or more days like prior to your exam, you'll be charged $25 every time you reschedule. If you are within 6 to 30 days from your exam, $60, and 1 to 5 days, $150. And if you want to like if it's 1 day left, you can cancel it, or you could just you could take it, but you won't get a refund.
Yeah, $150.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so make sure you guys, if you guys like want to reschedule your test, keep in mind like how many days until your exam, so you guys can know about the rescheduling fees.
So you guys don't pay like extra money for it.
Yeah, for sure. And
yeah,
if
so
you,
like
quick addition to that. So if you
they are charging. So they stopped charging for COVID, let's say from May to September, end of September, but now they're charging again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Also, side note too, if you just like don't show up to your DAT, like nothing happens. Like that won't be reported to dental schools or anything like that. So yeah, that is. I mean, I wouldn't recommend that, but I'm just throwing that in the air. Like if you're just like I'm not ready 100%, like and I couldn't reschedule, then just sign. I mean, like you're out $475, but at the same time, like no one's gonna see that except for like your bank account and you unfortunately. So that's that. So this is the exam basics. So you have an optional tutorial at the beginning, 15 minutes. It just kind of like gets used to like the highlighter function, stuff like that, and getting used to the calculator and you know how it works, stuff like that. So they actually gave you like little practice questions before you can kind of like practice with and how you can do that. So that's huge. But yeah, biology is 40 questions. General chemistry is 30 questions. Organic chemistry is 30 questions. And all in all, so this is one big chunk and it's all together. So it's like 40 questions. You get like this little intermediate weird kind of screen where it's like kind of hard to navigate, but you can still move and you can go back and forth from general chemistry to biology to organic chemistry. So it's just like this weird little chunk of 90 questions. I'm sorry, 100 questions that it's like kind of weird, but it's all the same like section. So that's the survey of natural sciences. So that's that.
Oh, it's
And you
like
have
it's split up, but you could go back and forth within sections. So like all 40
exactly,
questions in bio are together.
exactly. So personally for me, so biology, biology is like, so I took like probably 20 minutes to do biology and then I had some like marked, and also you can mark them and you can come back. It's like this whole thing. So you can mark the questions. So basically for me, when I took the DAT the second time, so the biology, I ran through it like 20 minutes. I skipped a few, and then I went to general chemistry. General chemistry typically takes the longest. Organic chemistry, I was done in like 10 minutes. Like I blew through it. Yeah. So and then I went back to biology, did all the ones that I marked, and then I, you know, afterwards went over general chemistry. I was able to like review everything, make sure everything was like, you know, sounding good, you know, made sense to me. And yeah, so after the survey of natural sciences, you have the PAT, the perceptual ability test. I'm sure you guys are well aware of it by now, hopefully. Basically, it's like you have to see things in 3D and you have to look at something 2D and you have to visualize it 3D, if that makes sense. It's not too bad. It just really comes with practice. I think, honestly, the time to practice this is like when you want to break from like studying biology or general chemistry or organic chemistry, to be honest. But it's really not too bad. But yeah, some people have troubles with it. So if you do find yourself having trouble with it, just practice. It's really all it is. So then you have an optional break of 30 minutes. In between this, you can go to your like car and just like kind of chill, have like a snack. I brought a granola bar and a banana, I think. So that was kind of, I think honestly, I feel like it's kind of necessary. But so then reading comprehension, so that's 60 minutes. But I think, yeah, so there's 3 passages with 50 questions. The QR or the math section, quantitative reasoning. So you have 45 minutes for that, but 40 questions, and then optional post-test survey. So like at the end, you're just like, yo, I want my scores. I want my scores. Like I was running through that survey and like, they say it's optional, but like at the same time, it's like kind of not, like, I don't know. So they kind of like, I don't know, it is what it is. So yeah, survey, this is just continuing. So biology is, yeah, this is it. So cell and molecular biology, diversity of life, which is like everyone's, no one likes this one. It's just like a lot of content and a lot of stuff you have to memorize, like all the phylas and all the groups and the classes, and it's like a lot. Yeah, honestly, it's tough. It's basically like general biology too, all over again, but like more in depth. Like it's kind of nuts. Yeah, yeah, it's not fun. So if you can find like nice YouTube videos on that, that'd be like super clutch. But then you have structure and function of systems, and basically that's just like you know, anatomy and immunology, physiology, stuff like that.
All of that together.
Yeah, all of them together. And then so then you also have genetics. On my DAT, I had like a pedigree chart, and you know, if your dad is hemophiliac and your mom has sickle cell, whatever. I'm just like throwing something out there, but that kind of stuff. Then you have evolution, ecology, and behavioral. You know, behavior of animals. It's like conditioning, operant conditioning, stuff like that. So just know you're getting a Hardy-Weinberg ecology question, like a Hardy-Weinberg for a fact. Like you're getting one. It's almost guaranteed. So just heads up. General chemistry. So yeah, this is all the stuff that's on there. I had a lot of acids, bases, all that good stuff. Organic chemistry, mechanisms. Not yeah, mechanisms. Nice. A lot of just like a lot of random stuff, to be honest. I had like a lot of alkenes, mine aromatic compounds for sure.
So,
And
quick to add for organic chemistry, if you guys are taking a course with Becker, I know you guys can cheat super nice and clean and get an A, but try to please learn, because if you cheat, you're gonna like, I don't want to say bad, but you have to like actually go in depth with all the videos. Like, it basically I can't even talk. Like, learn everything again for the DAT. So make sure like the classes you take it seriously, the ones that are on the DAT, because I know there's FIU, there are like plenty of professors that you can like work your way through to get an A, but please like learn this stuff.
yeah, that's huge. Definitely learn to learn your classes, because like at the end of the day, it's kind of bite you in the buns, because like a lot of the stuff you're gonna be seeing, not really organic chemistry, but biology for sure. Like you need to learn instead of like learn to get an A in the exam, like just memorizing cram. Like just learn to learn for sure. Yeah. The PAT, so you have the keyhole section, top front end, angle ranking or angle discrimination, hole punching, cube counting, pattern folding, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So 60 questions to answer 90, 60 minutes to answer 90 questions. So you have like 10 minutes for each 15 questions, kind of like in theory, but some of these you kind of blow through quick, like the angle discrimination or angle ranking. That's like the quickest section that should only take like 5 minutes or so.
Yeah, and then I wanted to add something. So here, like for the perceptual ability, you guys, like the hardest thing for me was the timing, doing all the questions in time. So like what I did was I skipped the first section, the first 15 questions. I just like click next until I got to top front end. And then I did from top front end all the way to pattern folding. This is actually the order that it comes in. And then I went back because keyholes just took forever, and I actually had time at the end to like check over the ones that I marked doing that. So at first I couldn't finish in time. I wouldn't have time, but when I skipped the keyhole, that helped me you know, have time to like over after the test. So yeah, this is just practice, PAT, getting used to looking at the different shapes and how, you know, how to solve the problems, getting like little tricks here and there.
Yeah, that's huge. Like for me personally, like the top front end for me was just like, I always took forever on that. That was like top front end pattern folding for me was just like killer. Like it took me forever. So what I did specifically, I did keyholes, then I went to angle ranking, hole punching, cube counting, and then I went back to TFB, and then I went back to pattern folding. That was my kind of like logic. But yeah, so let's go to the next slide. And yeah, lots of practice. Like don't feel discouraged. Like it comes like with practice. Like this is something you definitely need to practice. It's not like something that comes like the first day. Like it may seem like a little easy, I guess, but at the end of the day, it's just, you know, just gotta practice for sure. The reading comprehension. Personally, I can speak on this. This is like, I don't read that fast. I mean, like pretty slow. Ever since I was little too, I was just like, I've always had a problem. So I'm just gonna throw some advice out there. Just like pick up a book, and like Drake said, you can thank me later. Like trust. So yeah. So there's 3 passages: scientific, or you know, and or non-scientific. And yeah, so a lot of like inference question, like how did the author feel? You know, author's purpose, stuff like you know, that kind of stuff. But there are some fact-based questions, and also some questions that are just like in the passage. You have to like look for like what year did Albert Einstein, you know, whatever. And then you would find that in the passage, and that's like bread and butter, you know, that's just like search and destroy, you just find it, bada bing, stuff. That's nice. Then the quantitative reasoning question section, this again, unless you're like a beast with math, it just comes with practice. So yeah, there's a lot of statistics in this. So for sure, that's kind of unfortunate because statistics is like not really one of the strong suits.
Probabilities too.
Yeah.
Like
Does the math
I had a lot of.
does the math section have physics 1 and 2 or no?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all.
No.
The closest thing you'll get to physics is like maybe like, oh, there's a boat on a current, and the current is traveling against the boat or something like that. Like that's like the closest thing you'll get to physics, but it's not like, oh, I don't even know. Like, no, there's no physics.
Force.
Yeah, there's no force or like gravity. There's nothing like that. Or like how fast is the ball rotating if I throw the ball over there at
Yeah.
like 10 miles an hour or whatever. Like,
I thought there was physics. Cool. All right.
no, yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good on physics. Thank God. So yeah.
Courses to take before DAT that will first it'll look good on your application really. Like these are the courses that the schools actually want to see, and most of them recommend you to take it before getting into dental school. So it's physiology, anatomy, histology. These three will help you like literally with half of the biology section in the DAT. So if you have these down before DAT and if you actually like learn in class, not cheat, you'll be really, really like good while you study because everything is familiar. And the next ones is microbiome, biochem. There's actually like biochem in the DAT, and people say there's not, but there is actually. And genetics, obviously, immunology, not in the DAT, but it's recommended for dental school. Ecology is in the DAT, evolution is in the DAT, developmental biology, I don't really know about that, but Kyle, Wilfredo, do you guys know anything about that?
Yeah, so developmental biology is for sure on the DAT. So it's like it'll be like, oh, like the neural crest and stuff like that, and you know, it talks a lot about like the embryo. So this is huge too. I actually wanted to touch on this. So like before, when I was studying, when I took the DAT the first time, 2019 of summer 2019, kind of sounded weird, but yeah, so I had no biology background. Like I just came out of organic chemistry and physics, and then the year before that, I just came out of general chemistry and like some like humanities classes, whatever. So I had no idea. Like the last thing I took was general biology too. So I had no idea on all of this stuff. So it took me really long to actually get the hang of it and study for this because it was just from scratch, like, and it was tough. But you know, that next year, like the year I was taking classes, so I took all of these. I took physiology. No, I didn't take physiology, but the anatomy with Dr. Bryn is technically anatomy slash physio. So yeah, but so technically yes and no. But so then I also took histology, microbiology, biochemistry, genetics, immunology. I'm taking right now, so this is after. But yeah, so these are definitely huge. Like I had like a better grasp on what was going on and so on and so forth. So for sure, I definitely recommend microbiology too. Huge, like gram positive, gram negative. I was like, huh? But like it's like once you actually you know you're taking the class and you understand it, like learn to learn. Like I remember like when I was taking this class and I was like, this is gonna be on the DAT for sure. So I'm gonna take you know exquisite notes for sure. So you know, just kind of going with that mindset. And even like you don't have to take the DAT one time and then kind of go in and learn your lesson. Like I'm telling you now, just like take the advice I'm trying to give and just go ham. Like just go hard in the paint. Like just get it done. You know what I mean? So that's huge.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I'm taking like physiology right now, and you know, after taking the DT, and I see a lot of the stuff from DT on physiology. I think for me, the most like my most recommended courses would be physiology, ecology. Let me see here. I haven't taken anatomy, so I'm not sure about that one. I took histo. There's some histo that could help.
Anatomy really
That for histo, it's like epithelial tissues and stuff like that. Genetics, you that you know pay attention in that class. But yeah, for me, physio, ecology, genetics, and evolution, I would say those are like those like I saw a lot of content on the DT from those.
Yeah, I'm taking immunology right now, and it's like really, really specific. So I mean, like you could probably like get away with just watching videos for immunology. I just do this in the mix just in case, but like I'm taking it now, and it's pretty like detailed, and it's not that detailed on the like actual DAT, but still having like that background knowledge in the back of your head will definitely like help your you know study habits when actually going about the immunology section on there. So on the actual section for the DAT, the immunology, it's like, you know, oh, leukocyte or white blood cell, whatever. And they just kind of go off of that. And it's not too specific, but yeah, immunology, the class is pretty tough. It's really in depth and specific. So it's up to you. So now we're going to get into the resources.
the most exciting part, the resources. So DAT Bootcamp, this is like we changed our sponsorship from last year. Last year Shani came. If you guys I don't know if you guys came to the meeting or not. She came and she explained basically the DAT, the whole process to take it and everything. And we had a lot of complaints this year about her program. So we changed it to DAT Bootcamp and Booster both. Bootcamp is amazing. It's literally like I was taking Shani and changed it to Bootcamp. And Shani, she's good at explaining, let's say, the basics, but she doesn't really go in depth in details, even with the videos. And the videos on Bootcamp are with Dr. Mike, and he has specific videos. He has question banks right after the videos. Basically, for organic, let's say you cover IR spec, you have like 60 questions on that topic, while Shani had only 10 questions on that topic. So I think Bootcamp is actually a really good source. And for our active members, we're gonna have a discount code that you can like message us separately if you're an active member, and we can give it to you. There are 10 full-length exams. Those 10 full-length exams are the same as a 10 subject exam. So what Bootcamp recommends you is that you take the first 5 tests as a subject test to see, to basically like time yourself, because in the beginning it's really hard to get used to the timing in the DAT, because you imagine you have 40 questions, 30 questions and 30 questions for the science portion of the DAT, and you have, let's say, I believe 120 minutes or my bad, 100 minutes. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, 100 minutes. So you have to get used to the timing, be fast, and those 5 tests is going to help you to get used to the timing. And then after you do the other 5, to just get used to sitting down actually for like 5 hours and a half, and make sure you do great in those 5 hours. You don't burn out, basically.
I have a question regarding that.
Yes.
For the first 5, would you think it's best if you focus solely on biology and just only study bio, and then take your first bio exam, and then focus only on the PAT, and then take the second one?
They give you, let's say, whenever you guys sign up for bootcamp, they're gonna give you a whole schedule. That the schedule is actually on point. So I would say just follow the schedule. Like, if you follow the schedule, you're gonna be done with most of all the subjects. I believe you start bio because bio is a lot. Bio is like the biggest section, let's say, and in my opinion, the hardest section. So you start with bio, you finish Gen Chem first, and then you go to Orgo, and then you finish Orgo. Meanwhile, you're doing math and you're doing PAT. So it's all of that stuff in the like together.
Okay.
Ari, the guy who made the program, he explains it well, and he actually has it on his schedule. And after
Okay.
they're done with the content, you go to do the, what is it called? To do the subject tests. And while you're doing the subject test, you guys have to remember, like, personally, my problem was that, let's say I finished the bio section, and then I started forgetting the stuff I read in the beginning. So while you finish, you have to go back and review the material. Like literally review is the key for this test. So while you're doing the practice test, you have to review the material as well. So yeah, with Fredo, Kyle, if you guys want to add anything to this slide.
Yeah, for sure. So I think it's huge. Definitely, like keep reviewing, constantly review, like was saying, and yeah. So specifically for DAT Bootcamp, I had DAT Bootcamp the first time I took it, and I didn't utilize it as much as I should have. Like honestly, looking back at it now, I should have honestly just mained that and just had that only, because I think it's like a really well-rounded study material. So definitely. And regarding the schedule, whatever you do, stay on schedule. Like just stay on the schedule. Like just stay on schedule. I know it's gonna be hard, like especially because they like call for like 6 to 10 hours a day, but just please stay on the schedule and don't fall behind, and just like do what you have to do every day. And just honestly, one thing that like worked for me is like just you wake up in the morning and just like say it to yourself, just like, let's get this bread. You just go, that's it. So definitely that's huge. Just like the mindset too, just going in, just stick to the schedule, and I promise you'll be fine. Like, yeah.
And DAT bootcamp splits it up. I think you guys said into 3 months, or how's the time period when you start to finish?
What do you how many
So,
days?
Yeah.
So as far as that goes, the membership, there's 2 types. There's one type that you can have it for 3 months, for 90 days, and then the other one, is for, I believe, a little bit over that, like 4 months maybe. I'm not completely sure. But I do know that they're extremely flexible with, for example, for me, I had to reschedule my test. And then my membership expired 2 weeks or a week and a half before I took my DAT. And I just like emailed them like, hey, this happened. And they just extended it. And I know people who they have extended their membership to like a month for free. So yeah, don't stress too much about the length of the membership because they're super flexible with that.
Okay, thank you.
They are
Yeah.
flexible, but I would just add this, that maybe 1% are flexible because of COVID too. So make sure, like, if you're putting these 4 months, make sure to get it done in those 4 months. Make sure you're not literally treat DAT as a full-time job. That ass, like, wake up 7 a.m., get ready 8 a.m., start studying until you go to, like, literally, like, I don't know, 8 p.m., 9 p.m., go to sleep. And if you're working, you can, yeah, like, I don't know, make your schedule to like balance both of them. But don't take any classes while you're studying for the DAT because it's gonna be way too much. It's gonna be way too much, and you're gonna like have to slack in either your classes or DAT, which is not good. So yeah.
A quick question. Have you guys heard about iPrep? Because I know when we had the meeting with the NOVA students.
We're gonna talk about this if you.
Yeah. iPrep is like, I think like two more slides and then we're gonna be there, and then
Let's finish the PowerPoint and then answer any questions
Yeah,
you get now.
Yeah, for sure. So for me, for boot camp, I definitely like recommend boot camp, even though I didn't use it as much. I kind of looked at it like afterwards, and I saw like a lot of similarities, especially in the DT. The setup from boot camp, how they have like their test setup is really similar to the DT, how it's like actually on the computer. They have, like as Melina said, they have like at the end of like each question, they have like long explanations. The PAT is really similar to the actual DAT. Reading as well, the articles are, pretty lengthy.
Facts. Yeah, the reading on DAT
you have-
bootcamp is important for sure. Like that one it's hard, but like that's how it is. You either get blessed with like a nice easy passage, or you're gonna get like a really hard passage like I did, and it was tough. So for sure, like practice reading. Like I'm not gonna I keep emphasizing that, but like I do it for a reason. There's no way, like yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and like Kyle said, don't fall behind, because like it's easy to say like, oh yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll leave that section for tomorrow, and then you do the same thing the next day, and then it's like, oh, I got to do 10 sections today, or it's like, so stay on top of like the material. And also I feel like it helps like how the bootcamp is set up, how they have like they have you doing math from like the beginning, because like as we're going to talk about in the next slides, iPrep makes you do it like at the end. And I feel like it's not, you don't build up like that practice that you should from the beginning. You only have to do it like a couple questions a day, like I think they have you doing like 5-10 questions, and then you get up to like 20, so it's like that practice over time really makes a difference. So you don't like forget the topic.
So bootcamp, basically, as I told everyone, they start every single section from the beginning. And iPrep, unfortunately, they don't start PAT, they don't start math, they don't start reading until, let's say, half of the program. So when you're done with, let's say, the natural science part. So that's like a plus for bootcamp because they're making you, because let's say PAT is all practice. PAT is all like doing 1 hour, let's say 30 minutes to 2 hours practice every single day as much as you can. And you'll see after a while is literally by time, by practicing, that you'll improve. Same thing with math, to see what's your like weak areas of math, and then iPrep doesn't do that. So most of the students in iPrep, they don't score good with the math section, with the PAT section, and with the reading section, but it's not the same for bootcamp. So
Yeah, so we're gonna go on to the next slide now.
DAT Booster. Booster is a new program. They're amazing. They just started, I believe, like 5 months ago, if I'm not mistaken, Kyle. I don't know how many months ago, but they literally just started this year. And they're amazing. Their test is like almost identical to the actual DAT. So they have videos for some subjects it's not like boot camp that they have videos for every single thing, because again, it's a new program. And I believe it's not that expensive. It's, I think with the 20% discount code that we have, it's gonna come up to $200. The 10 subjects that they have is literally like for every section, for QR, for reading, for bio, especially bio. I know a lot of people on the group chat, on the DAT Bootcamp group chat on Facebook, again, let's say DAT, the actual test, has 10 different versions. One version, you get the easy bio. The other version, you get the hard bio questions. So DAT Booster prepares you for the hard bio questions. And bootcamp, I've seen a lot of scores, a lot of 17s, 18s, 19s, that DAT Booster is going to cover that up basically and give you more extra practice for, let's say, whatever you're like not that strong on, for GenChem, for Orgo, for QR, especially QR2. So for sure, DAT Bootcamp plus Booster is like an amazing plan. You guys go through the basic stuff with DAT Bootcamp, you do the 10 subject test with DAT Bootcamp, and then you can start DAT Booster after. And if you do that, for sure, you're gonna get a 21 above an actual test.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually used DAT Booster like this year as like kind of like a supplemental, and at least like 5 questions on my actual DAT, and same thing for Wilfredo too, but 5 questions from my DAT stemmed from DAT Booster. Like there were 5 of them, like pretty much identical, like the same concept, the same kind of wording. It was actually nuts. Like when they emphasize high yield questions, like they actually mean it, like high yield as in like they're really representative of what you'll actually find on the DAT. Now that doesn't mean to just sit there and like go through the questions and memorize. It's not like Quizlet, you know what I mean? Like you have to actually like understand the concept behind it for sure. Basically, all I'm trying to say is like this, like I had 5 questions from DAT Booster on my DAT, and that was like easy money because I remembered them and I actually, you know, went over it, understood it, et cetera, et cetera. So, and I think it's actually, I could be mistaken, I think it's $199 and then plus the 20%, so it comes down to $160, but let's confirm that later for sure. But yeah, DAT Booster is like up and coming. It's affordable, it's like really cheap. So I would definitely recommend this. Like if you want to just stick with like the go-to DAT Bootcamp, since this one's just new, you can get this one at a fairly reasonable price. It's just like a supplemental, just like for extra practice, so on and so forth. And I would definitely highly or strongly recommend that.
Yeah. So yeah, as Scott said, it like I think I only use DAT Booster a little bit as well. So like I think like a couple of days before my DAT, I did like 2 subject tests. As they said, it was high yield for bio, and it was just test 8 and 9, and I saw like 5 or 6 of those questions, exact question, on my DAT, and I was like shocked. I was like, I just went over this last night. I know that's the answer. So yeah,
That's facts, that's facts. So without further ado, we're gonna go on to the next section. So this is DAT Destroyer. Take it away.
So this resource is, I can literally say, the hardest DAT resource. The hardest thing you can ever think of is in the DAT Orgoman, basically the books that you guys can see, DAT Destroyer. So what it is that a guy called Dr. Romano created this whole program, and he has videos. He has a lot of YouTube videos on every single subject. He has, I believe on math, he has it with some other professor, but a lot of people watch the math videos. They say it's really good, really helpful. He has a lot of bio videos. Some people don't like him because he talks a little weird, but he's really, really smart. And his
he has like the strongest New York accent you could ever find. Like it's actually nuts, but yeah. I'm just gonna add that in.
It's that, so he has, again, a lot of videos on YouTube that you guys can watch. And what you can do with DAT Destroyer, basically, if you get it and you go through it, most of the people, they get 25 and above. This, again, this source is the hardest. Like personally, I gave up. I was like, fuck this. I put the books away. I did like about 10 questions. That's it. And 2 main books that everyone gets is the DAT Destroyer book, which is I actually have it here for you guys. It's this big book. It's huge. It has basically OChem in it, which is 400 questions, Gen Chem 447 questions, biology is 782 questions. So just like Kyle and Rafredo said that they literally start copy and paste questions from booster on their exam, a lot of people see literally copy and paste questions from the bio section in the DAT Destroyer on their exam too, because it's the hardest book you can like basically get for this for DAT. And again, I don't know why this year they made DAT a little bit harder than it was last year and the years before, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, if you guys can, like, personally, I would actually like go through everything in these two books. And there's another book, DAT Math Destroyer. It's this one. This is another book because in the first book you only have 132 questions for quantitative reasoning. So for the second book they give you actually 13 tests, and each of them they have 40 questions. So it's super good. And what is it? The link that I included is the link that you can buy the books. I believe both of them together comes up to 220 and something. And by the way, if anyone wants the books, I didn't even touch these books, so text me or anything because I literally didn't touch them at all.
Yeah, I also have mine, but they're kind of like, you know, scuffed and I have like a lot of writings in them. But like, I mean, if you took like a day to just like erase everything, I mean, it would be kind of like quote unquote good as new. But yeah, so I definitely don't mind like sharing that as well.
Because it comes to 220. I have the books untouched, like didn't even honestly like the 2 questions only, and I'm gonna like give it for $90. So if anyone wants it, please let me. If you guys want to add anything with Fredo, Kyle.
Yeah, DAT Destroyer is definitely like really complicated, like the questions, but they give really in-depth like explanations at the end of it. And again, don't memorize. I feel like I'm gonna just keep emphasizing that and like the reading. So like don't memorize the questions. Just like, you know, you have to basically, like, the moral of the story for this is just like you have to understand like why things work in a certain way. Because if you just memorize and like, you know, if you don't get that question that you memorized, it's like, yeah, you study for no reason at the end of the day. So definitely understand, you know, what's going on, look behind the scenes and stuff, and just kind of go from there. But it's very detailed, it's complex. There's a lot of questions that you can learn from. So yeah, I recommend this.
I just wanted to
Yeah.
that they also have a free book for bio that's called the Dynamite Review, I think. And by itself, it's not good to review bio because he's not really good at going over basics. He just assumes that you know all the basics. But as a supplement, it's really good. He goes a little bit too much in depth into biochemistry of stuff, but if you just skip over that part, it can be really good. And you can find questions. I've heard a lot of people, at least personally for me, I use only DAT Bootcamp and his book for bio. And for me, it was fine. I didn't see anything from his book. DAT Bootcamp was enough for me. But I've heard a lot of people who, you know, that's not been the case for them. So if you want to use something else to get some, you know, more exposure to bio content, this is a free way to get it. So you just go to their Facebook group, the DAT Destroy Facebook group. You can just download it from there for free.
So there's basically 2 resources for the bio section. One of them is on Bootcamp, DAT Bootcamp, that is called, basically is 120 pages. It's like they go over like everything in a summarized version. And there's another one, DAT Bootcamp Bio Academy, which that one I believe is 500 pages and it goes in depth with everything. So that's the main source for bio that everyone reads and everyone uses. And what Camille said, the dynamic notes is what is the notes that Dr. Romano he wrote. So most of the people, again, like one of them is fine. Again, I said there's many versions of the DAT. You can get the version that only they use the DAT bio notes, and you can get the version that you get some questions from the, let's say, Romano's notes. So it's really good if you guys can read it together. For example, if you read one chapter of ecology, read the same chapter in Romano's notes. So that'll help a lot.
Yeah, I feel like Destroyer is like definitely the hardest prep out there, but if you like get it down, like you said, you're golden. like, I've seen the scores that the people that use Destroyer get, and they get the most
They
insane
get
scores,
25, literally.
super high.
Yeah, some of them actually
Yeah.
like they get 30s, and then they call it the dirty 30, the dirty 30. So it's like, yeah, that's a slight flex. That's a slight flex. Are we good on DAT Destroyer? Should I move on?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay.
The most interesting resource available for DAT iPrep. Okay, so this source is a ripoff, literally. You pay $1,700 for a DAT source, which $1,700 is literally the money for your application. I think it comes up to like, I don't know, 1,500, and a DAT course is 1,700. So a lot of, okay, people really took iPrep, let's say last year, the year before, the year before. My friends took iPrep, they got 24s in the science section only, even last year. Non-science, she's not good. Again, she starts PAT math in the middle of her, program, and you have little amount of time to practice both of them, so you're not gonna do well. So why people took it last year and the year before? Because Shani, her exams were super similar to the actual test. And that's the main reason why everyone took it and why everyone was doing well in the science part. However, this year they changed the AT. They made it 10 times, I don't want to say 10 times harder, but they made it harder. They made it more similar to DAT bootcamp. It's really similar to Booster, as we mentioned, and super similar to the books that I mentioned too. So do not get iPrep. Don't make the mistake to pay $1,700 and waste your time on Shani's program, because there's a way better program with way less money that you can get, which is Bootcamp and Booster together, or Bootcamp and DAT Destroyer books. So I personally did that. I got iPrep, and Shani in her videos, she doesn't cover, let's say, a lot of topics that are actually on the DAT. So for, let's say, I don't know if it was GenChem or OChem, we have nuclear reactions that she literally doesn't mention it at all. We have lab techniques like how to, I don't know, add acid to water or water to acid. She doesn't mention that. So she brings it up later on in her little like tests that she has, the little boosters that she has, but it's not like good at all. So guys, don't waste your time. Again, my friends took it and they did well. Like with Fredo and Kyle, both of them, they took Shani. So they have way more to talk about it than I do, but yeah.
Yeah, I see someone said in the chat, rip in the chat. But no, I see someone said they got iPrep. I'm not gonna lie, like your science score is gonna be like really good. But unfortunately, like the reading section, like the reading section on there, like I was getting like 24s on the reading in there, and then I got like I got it like on my first attempt I got a 17 on the reading comprehension, and I don't know, it's just like it was not similar at all. And same with the math, kind of. But I mean, like if you have the PAT is basura, like no. PAT on iPrep is not that good, I'm not gonna lie. But I mean, your science scores will be good. So it's just like how you want to take it. Like, yeah, like dental schools, they do prefer your total science score to be higher, or like a good total science score. But at the same time, they're looking at like overall, like how you scored overall, like your academic average. So they do take everything into consideration. So like, I'm not gonna cap. So math, no one cares about. There's nothing, like no one really cares about math, to be honest. Like it does look good and that does bring up your academic average, but at the same time, like math is like, no one really emphasizes math as much as they do like reading or biology, like your total science scores. Same thing kind of with PAT, but at the same time, you want to do as best as you can on every section, and unfortunately iPrep just doesn't have the resources to kind of like do that, if that makes sense. So yeah, there's that. But the science is good. It's really good. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, I don't know. Will, you wanna take it away? What are your thoughts?
I just want to add one. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Go.
No, you can talk for this one.
No, yeah, I'm probably gonna talk for a little longer. So
Okay, so I just wanted to add, like, the thing with Shani, I feel I didn't take IPREP, but I feel like she's really bad at keeping up with the changes that are made for the DAT. Like, other resources are better at evolving with the DAT, and if something changes, they automatically add new question banks and stuff like that. And I feel like IPREP is falling behind on that, and that's why you feel there's a lot of people who are not doing as good now as they used to. And I also know that there's, like, I don't know, iPrep is really popular, like, here, only here. Like, nobody else knows it in the rest of the states, but apparently it's super popular here. And people, like, think, oh my God, I'm not gonna get a good, science score if I don't do iPrep, because iPrep people get 25 plus, whatever. Not the case. You can still get a super really good score with on sciences if you do, like, boot camp, and if you supplement it with boosters. So don't believe that, because I've heard a couple of people who believe that. Don't. I can tell you from experience, you can do good and not have to, get a better bang for your buck. Okay, just don't spend your money on this. Try to spend it on a resource that's more comprehensive, and you can get more from it, not only the sciences, because the other parts are important too. So try to, spend your money on a resource that it's more well-rounded.
Yeah, so for my DT, I actually use iPrep, but uh, I had like a discount from being most active member, which was like 50%. So I had like 50% off, and even with the 50% off, I think like that's still more than bootcamp and booster combined. So uh, but I think the biology section for iPrep was like good for me because there was like so many questions. Like I think it was like 19 tests, and each one has 40 questions. So you do the math. There's like a lot of practice there. So for those, as well as the chem and orgo. So for the sciences, I feel like you would be good. Like Kyle said, the math and the reading. I mean, the math is actually not that bad. There was I saw the similarity between the math on iPrep and the test. But as for reading and PAT, it was actually like it was different. Like the articles on iPrep were shorter. I could finish them like I had time, but on the actual DAT, I was like really running out of time because the articles were like longer. And for the PAT, iPrep kind of has like basic shapes. Um, the shapes on the DAT are a little more complex. They have like lines, and you have to like take into account, like for example, like top front end. You have to take into account dash lines versus solid lines. So I feel like for that, like bootcamp and booster, they both had a good PAT. The PAT was like almost like exactly like the DAT. Math, I think bootcamp, the math was like more like on the middle there, where you want to be. And what else am I missing? And the reading, bootcamp, and booster. I think the booster has like the exact same setup for reading as the DAT. It's like the question on top and the article on the bottom, and then you can scroll up and down. I think boot camp is like reverse. They have like the article on top, the question on the bottom. I don't know. I don't remember, but yeah. So iPrep for me it was a lot of practice. So that's why I feel like it helped me, and I did good on my sciences. So if you guys, I wouldn't say like it's like the most terrible thing to use, but I don't know. That's what I used.
And something else to add about iPrep again. So Shani, she uses tricks for her Gen Chem and for her Urkel. And Dr. Mike on Bootcamp, he goes in depth with everything. He goes in depth with the reactions. So he doesn't just throw you reactions. Hey, this is that, this is the product, memorize. No, like he actually goes in depth. He explains everything. That way, if 1% chance on the actual test, because basically reactions, you want to learn how to do them, right, on organic. And if you just memorize it, there's so much stuff you have to memorize on DAT that I feel like if you understand it is way better. Personally, I like bootcamp again 10 times more because Dr. Mike, he's like, I'm going through the videos as we're talking right now, and his explanation is 10 times better than Shani, to be honest. For Orgo, Shani says, hey, this is this reaction, this is that reaction, memorize it. And at the end of the Orgo section, you almost have 100 reactions to memorize. So there is a possibility that you might mess up with, let's say, the product. But on the other side, if you know how to do it, if you know how to get to the answer without memorizing it, I believe it's 10 times better. So that's something else that. Plus, another thing to add, bio section on Shani's is mostly straight facts. So for example, she's gonna ask you how many like lobes of like, I don't know, left lung we have. But on the actual DAT, I've heard a lot that it's more like thinking. You have to think to get the answer. It's not straight facts. So again, bootcamp and booster together is a way better plan. And if you got iPrep, I believe you can get bootcamp too. It's gonna be a lot more money, but still, like, I think it's better to be safe than sorry to go. Because one of my friends actually, I'm not gonna say her name, but she took iPrep last year. As I told you guys, last year DAT was super similar to iPrep on her exams, the science section. She got a 25 on the bio section last year. This year, she took the DAT and she got a 16. And that's terrible because she went down and she only studied Shani. So you don't want to do that. And please just be careful about it because I've heard like a lot of stories. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, just to finish that off, like, yeah, guys, like the resource that you want to use, it doesn't matter which one you use. Obviously, you don't want to like, for iPrep, I probably wouldn't recommend it because it's really expensive. I had like the discount, which was like 50% off. So instead of 1,700, I paid like 900 maybe. But it doesn't matter the resource, just try to like learn the topics really well. For like bio, what I recommend is like take notes. That's what I did. I did the test. I took notes on like all the questions that I got wrong and the ones I wasn't sure about. And I looked at the answer choices, make sure that I knew why certain choices were right and why certain choices were wrong. And that's how I like it came when it came to the test and the DT, I had like a lot of experience eliminating choices because I knew like, oh, this can't be because of that, and that one can't be it. So it just came down to like the last two. So I feel like for bio that helps a lot. Orgo, just get used to the reactions, write them down, do them like over and over, and at some point you're gonna like know the reaction where it's just like you see it. I think my longest session was chem. Bio, I was like on there. I was like 30 minutes. I finished my 40 question. Chem, I think I took 40 minutes in chem. So that was like, and then I did Orgo in 20. And the last 20, I finished Orgo. Orgo, I just knew like the reactions. I just saw it. I was like, all right, boom, done. So just make sure you're like just writing it down. If you write it down, you remember it better. So anything you don't understand, go back to the book or the notes, like whatever you're using, write it down. And it also helps to like if you have someone else that's taking the DT soon, you guys can like study together. Like first of all, study alone, but also you can like if you're using the same resource, for example, go over the test together and like help each other out understanding topics. So that helps as well.
Yeah, that's huge. Actually, I wanted to expand on that. So basically, if you have like a friend, like study individually, but like go over the exam with someone else, like the same exam. Like, I think that's huge. Like, cause like Wilfredo and I did that, and like, we were just gonna go over it, and I would get like his thought process for a certain question, and then he would get my thought process for a certain question. We would just kind of like elaborate and build off that, and like anything that didn't make sense, we would kind of like tag team together and just like research why it wasn't that and look at videos from there. So definitely having like a study buddy for sure. In terms of like how many people in a group, I would recommend like no more than like two others, including you. So I'm sorry, not including you. So like total of three, where you guys can just kind of like I think three is like the magic number. So yeah, it's So are we good to go into the next slide? Well, again, like questions will be answered later, so we'll come back to this, I guess.
Okay, when to take the test? Sorry, Kyle. You're about to talk.
You're good.
So,
You're good. You're good.
so you guys, the ideal is to take it between the summer, between your junior year and your senior year, or you can take it after you graduate. So last year, Shani came and she said, "Oh, if you, I don't know, apply late after you graduate, you're gonna lose a whole year, this and this and that." So basically, she was kind of negative about it, which I didn't like because everyone has their own time to take the test to get into dental school. My friends, two of them were, one of them is 29 years old studying for the DAT, the other one got into dental school when he was 32. So it really depends. I would say take it whenever you're, let's say you took some of those classes that we told you, so you don't come into DAT not knowing any bio, because those classes are really going to help you. Second, I would say put exactly 4 months, because everyone, most of the people, they take 4 months. Put 4 months for studying only DAT, nothing else. If you're working, of course, with work, but no classes for 4 months. And summer, I believe, is the like good time to take it. Something else that people do is that applications open around June. So what people do is that they leave their spring semester empty. They don't take any classes and they only focus on DAT, which that's a good thing because let's say you start from January, you study January, February, March, and April. You take your test on April, and then if you didn't do well, you can retake it again. And something else is that let's say you took the test and you didn't do well, you have to wait 3 months to retake it. So if you're 100% sure that you're applying, let's say next cycle, you 100% have all of your volunteer hours down, all of your shadowing hours down. Let's say your GPA is good. I would say the ideal is to start January, finish around May, and submit your score with like your whole application on June, including DAT. If you can't do that, you have, let's say you want to take classes in spring, you can submit your application around June. And then for the DAT portion, you can say, I will take the test on August. You put the date and you take the test on August and you send it. So August is not late either. Last cycle, the last e-board, let's say like I think four of them actually took the test on August. Not four, my bad, three of them. Three of them took the test on August. One of them took it on June. The other one took it on July. So I believe the best time to take the test is when you're ready and when you actually feel 80% you're gonna go in and do well. Because if you don't, you kind of like look at it financially too. Every time you have to pay $500, you lost the $500. You have to wait 3 more months to retake the test. So yeah, I would. Anything else you guys want to add from you, Kyle?
Yeah, no, for sure. So like, it's definitely comes down to like when you're ready. For me personally, since I had to like retake mine, like, so I took my first DAT August or September of 2019, and then I got into like June or whatever, and I started studying. But I also submitted with my previous score, which was like okay, it was good enough. So that was kind of the move because I know if you submit your application before you have a DAT, they're not going to look at your application until you submit the DAT, unfortunately. So it's always good to just like be in the back of your back of your mind. You always want to be proactive for sure because like at the end of the day, like if you're not proactive, everything's gonna come to like last minute. You're gonna have to like just like it's gonna be really overwhelming. So yeah, definitely taking it at the end of the day, just take it when you're ready, like, but still be proactive. You know what I mean? Like, so like, there's got to be a compromise between the two, like being proactive and being ready. So, yeah, for sure.
And the scores, let's say once you're done with the test, you'll get your unofficial score. And as Kyle said, it will take 3 weeks, I believe, for the official scores to go to school and to show up on your ADSES website. So ADSES is basically the website when you apply to dental school, you have to fill out your application. And it'll take 3 weeks. So guys, let's say you take it around like August, like it'll be sent to all the schools in September. So make sure the dates are okay. and you're kind of like applying early, because applying early, it really makes a difference. I know someone with a 19 DAT, it's not bad, but it's not great either. With 19 DAT, he applied on June last year and he got about 10 interviews. And my other friend last year, he got a 24. He took it on, I believe, at the end of August, September, and he got only 2 interviews. So, like applying early and making sure you have most of the stuff ready by, let's say, when applications open, is super important.
Also, if you're thinking about taking a gap year like me, I would really recommend you to take your DAT the year before you apply. So I took my DAT on August, and I'm applying next cycle. I did that mainly because I didn't want to think about applications while I was studying for the DAT, and two, I didn't want to have the pressure of having to do well, because that's it. If I don't, I lose all my money for applications. I didn't want to have that pressure. So I know that I already next cycle, as soon as it opens, I'm gonna have everything ready, including the AT. So I'm gonna be able to apply early and all of that. So that's, if you can do that. I know that sophomore year is like too early because you probably haven't taken many of the classes that are gonna help you a lot. But if you can do it, that would be great.
Yeah, and another thing
to apply super early, and you don't have that pressure.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that Camille said about gap years, so gap year, not years, my bad. So a lot of people say, oh, gap year is not good, it's not this, it's not that, like a lot of opinions. But again, I believe gap year, it can be super beneficial, to be honest. As Camille said, you can take your test and apply at the end of once you graduate, and you have basically like 2 whole semesters to yourself to travel, get ready, going to dental school, because dental school is super hard, super, super hard.
Yeah, and going back to gap years, gap year, it doesn't really matter how many you take, or it matters what you do with that time, because it's not gonna reflect bad on you if you actually, make good use of that time. If you, I don't know, do something that you want, or you do research, or you become a dental assistant, you do whatever you want, but you do something useful with that time that you can talk to, you can talk about in your interview. Because if you take a gap year, they're gonna ask you definitely, well, so what are you doing with this time? And what you say, and what you're doing is gonna matter. So as soon as you do something useful, it doesn't really matter if you take a gap year or not. Even if you take 3, it doesn't really matter. As soon as you make good use of that time.
That's facts. That's facts. I think Melina kind of cut out. I think maybe your internet connection is. Yeah. So either way, I mean, this is pretty much it. So we're definitely gonna have a lot of questions, I know. But yeah, thanks. And again, any questions?
I have a quick question. So I haven't taken microbiome or biochem. I'm gonna take it in the spring.
Okay.
Would you recommend me taking the DAT like before those classes, or would those classes be like completely necessary for?
When were you planning to take your DAT?
So I wanted to take it next like June.
Next June, and you're gonna take microbiology next spring?
Yeah, like because you guys are recommending not to take classes and study for it at the same time.
Well,
So,
oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. When are you going to apply? Next cycle?
yeah.
So in this case, I mean, you can probably like get away with not taking microbiome, but at the end of the day, it did just like help me kind of like familiarize myself with like concepts. But you can easily like YouTube videos, stuff like that. But I think as long as you feel ready at the end of the day, that should be fine. But Camille, do you want to tag on this?
Sure. So I personally didn't take biochem before taking the DAT, so it doesn't really matter. There's like, I feel like the bio section touches on some topics of biochem, because I'm taking it now. I'm like, oh my god, I remember this from the DAT, but not too much in depth. So you don't really need biochem for it. And microbiome is not really necessary either. There's gonna be some concepts that you're gonna like breeze through because you already saw them in microbiome, and they're gonna look like, they're gonna seem so familiar that you don't have to like really learn them. So that's a good thing about taking these classes, that it's gonna make you go through the bio section faster, but it's not that it's completely necessary. And as far as taking classes and DAT together, honestly, it depends on how good you are at, time management. If you're really good at that, then that's okay. For me personally, I'm good at time management, but I work. And during my DAT, I worked 3, and COVID times was crazy. So I had to work a bunch of hours and a bunch of days. So I couldn't take a class as well, besides the DAT. So, but if you don't work, you can maybe, take 2 or 3 classes and then do DAT. I don't know. It really depends on your personal situation and your time management skills. If you're bad at time management, and you're gonna have a hard time studying for 12 hours a day, then definitely just take it by itself so you can maybe, slow your pace. It really
One
depends
more,
on your personal
one more thing. You said the last month to take it for next cycle is August usually? Like when's the last?
It's not the last month. It's really not the last month. I know people last year that they even took it in October and they got accepted, but there's a really low chance. So again, like if you're applying in October, you have to not have to. It's good to get 24 above on the DAT, which is hard. So if you even get a 19 when you apply on June, you can get up to 10 interviews. So I would really recommend like getting DAT over with in the beginning of the cycle. I mean, in the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
Some other questions, or I guess I could probably read through the chat. I'm sure we probably need this.
The PAT section, was your guys only like was that the first time you guys ever saw questions like that, or have you guys seen questions prior to studying for the DAT?
No, absolutely. Like, depends on like the study program you use, but for the most part, everyone has PAT questions and stuff that you can practice off of. And like we said before, like DAT Booster, DAT Bootcamp, they're all pretty familiar with or similar to the actual PAT section. So it wasn't a first time seeing it, but at the end of the day, it just really comes down to how much practice and how much you practiced for the PAT section to actually feel like you've seen those questions before, so on and so forth, and how to there's specific strategies and stuff like how to tackle each kind of question. So I think that's huge.
Okay, thank you.
So like the big thing about studying for, oh, sorry, you were gonna ask a question.
Okay, so for the schedule, like, did you guys make your own, or you guys used like the bootcamp one?
So personally, I struggle with this at the beginning because all of those programs are made for people who don't work, literally. So it's just study from Monday through Saturday and take Sunday off. Okay, that doesn't work for me. So personally, I made my own schedule. Like the first day, I sat down and I did like a tentative schedule, obviously, because I didn't really know how much it was gonna take me for each section. I did it all the way through the end, just so I had an idea of how much it was gonna take me for each thing, And then I moved it around a little bit as I, time progressed, and I was like, oh, okay, bio takes me a little bit longer than I expected, so I'm gonna move this around. And I kind of work with it, but I feel like it's really good to have a schedule from the beginning, because since it's a test that's so far away, like 3-4 months away, you tend to, think like, oh, whatever, if I don't do this today, it's fine. I still have like 2 more months. And when you see all that you have to do on paper there on a schedule, and you see that you actually need to stay on top of it, otherwise you're gonna fall way behind. Like, I feel like that really works. So if you can have a schedule from the beginning, do it, because it really pushes you through, to go day by day and do all the stuff that you have to do each day. So having a schedule is like super important.
Mm-hmm. And plus, let's say the first half of the AT is like learning the material, second half is doing questions. But the thing is that you guys think, hey, like this is the first half, I'm gonna slack a little bit, this and that, and then later on I can like get on top of my things. But the thing is that second part is so hard because you're doing questions and you have to review the material at the same time. So you're doing questions for Orgo, for Gen Chem, for Bio, for PAT, for Math. You have to review those questions first. You have to understand them, not memorize them, and you have to again go through all the chapters in Bio, all the chapters in Orgo, all the chapters in Gen Chem. So let's say staying on top of your schedule from the beginning really is important, which I didn't do that, to be honest with you. I wasted a lot of days. I wasted months, but again, lessons.
I have two questions. So how do you send your scores to your schools? Is it
You put them on access. So basically when you let's say you want to apply next cycle, the applications open around like end of April, if I'm not mistaken. No, yeah,
Yeah,
June.
so it opens like May, but you can like fill out your information or whatever during May, and then June 2nd, typically it opens, but just because this year with COVID, it actually opened June 12th. So
So it opens at the end of, let's say, April. You have like a month to fill out everything, and there's literally a section about DAT, standardized tests, US or Canadian DAT, because they're different somehow. And you put the score that you had, or if you're gonna take it later, you just put the date that on this date I will take it, and they'll send it automatically to all the schools. So when you sign up for the DAT, another thing we should have mentioned, but when you sign up for the DAT, there's basically like an option that you choose the schools you want your scores to go to, and it's good to put all the schools, not picking specific ones, because I believe after like I don't know 15, if I'm not mistaken, um, 10 or 15 after that, the price is the same. So yeah, the score is just going to automatically go to like every single school.
Thank you. And also, when you apply, like for instance, I'm applying to next cycle, it would take a year, like to start dental scoring.
Yes. So
Okay.
you apply. Let's say you submit your application June. They'll start sending interviews, I believe, in the beginning of August in a normal cycle. In the beginning of August, they'll start sending interviews. That the first of like December 1st, they're gonna announce everyone who got accepted. So yeah,
Okay.
it'll take like a whole year for the whole application process and interview and everything.
Would you guys recommend me taking the DAT right after I finish Orgo? Because I'm taking Orgo in spring, Orgo 1. Would you guys recommend I study summer for the DAT, or should I take Orgo 2 during summer and then
Take Orgo 2. I believe with DAT you have to have a good fundamental. You can't rush it, to be honest. And Orgo 2 with reactions that I was talking about, 100 reactions, most of them are from Orgo 2. So
yeah,
I believe it's people can do it. That 1 or 2% they get like a good score in Orgo if they haven't taken Orgo 2, but it's best if you finish all your courses you're supposed to before DAT.
yeah, I agree. And you said you were a sophomore too, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be a junior next semester. So spring is my start of junior year, I guess.
So spring is the start of your junior year. And you're taking organic 1 right now, or are you gonna take it in spring?
I'm gonna take it in spring.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so I agree with Melina on this one for sure.
So take first.
When are you scheduled to actually like graduate FIU?
It's weird because I'm scheduled to graduate fall, but I think I'm gonna split up that last fall semester so I could graduate summer and then start a year ahead, if that makes sense.
That does make sense. So fall 2022 though, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so yeah, that's kind of like that's kind of tough because it's like weird because of how that is. But yeah, I would definitely say like organic too, you're gonna have like a lot of reactions on, so it's good to have like a good foundation on it. And for organic, like in general, like you have to learn it. Like there's no real like BSing organic, to be honest, in my opinion. So that's huge to have like a good foundation for sure.
Yeah.
The thing about organic chemistry, like we've been talking, like reactions are important, but at least in my DAT I got like 3 reaction questions and then the rest were not reaction questions. So there's a bunch of stuff about organic that's just like concept based, not only reactions, and most of it you learn it in Orgo 2. Well, there's a bunch of Orgo 1, but spectroscopy, I got pretty hard questions on spectroscopy, about 4, and that you learn in Orgo 2. Aromaticity, I got like 4 or 5 questions on that in my DAT, like a lot, and that you learn it in Orgo 2. So Orgo 2 is important, and it's not all reactions, it's there's a bunch of conceptual stuff, even more than reactions in the actual DAT. So that's
Absolutely, yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah, I had like a lot of aromaticity questions, IR, HNMR,
so much.
CNMR, stuff like that. And if you haven't taken that, it's gonna be weird. So yeah.
I have a similar question regarding like my path as well. Like I'm gonna be taking Orgo 2 in the spring, and I haven't taken anatomy or physiology or immunology and most of those like upper electives. So I'm kind of confused as to like when I should start studying for the DAT because I think I'm only missing Orgo as like the.
When are you applying?
When am I applying? I don't know if next year would be possible. I would like it. I would like to apply next year, but I don't think that's possible.
I mean, you can start studying for the bio section if you haven't taken the classes yet. The bio notes on bootcamp are for free, and we're almost done with fall semester, so you'll have whole spring to basically go through the bio section. You can, again, you can rush things, but it's better. It's a better thing to take the classes first and then go along. But if you really, really want to get accepted, let's say apply next cycle, you can start studying the bio notes of the TAT, let's say starting spring, so you have an idea. And once you start the program, let's say in April when you're done with the semester, you basically went through the whole biology section once or twice, and you'll basically like be good for that part.
Okay, thank you.
One thing too, like this is huge. Can you guys see my screen right now? Like, what do you guys see? You guys still see the things? You guys see like desktop 1, 2, 3?
Thanks.
The PowerPoint.
Just the PowerPoint? Okay, give me 2 seconds, hold on. New share, so I just want to share my screen. So one thing, so what do you guys see now? Like, you guys see like desktop 1, 2, 3?
Yeah.
Cool. So really quick, so I just want to open up Google. And so there's a Google Chrome extension. So it's a DAT Bootcamp extension. And so like this will kind of like get you kind of prepared, I think, to be honest. I should have done this before, to be honest. Okay, so this one. So yeah, this one right here. So this is huge. So actually, I already have it on my extension. So basically, this will kind of like get you ready, so to speak. And basically, let's turn it on. And so every tab you open will be like different biology questions. So this is huge because like whenever like you just put your cursor over it and it opens like this was, this is developmental biology or whatever. So like you open a new tab, describe the respiration system of echinodermata, which is really like tough kind of section on the DAT. It's like the general two. And so then it tells you the answer there. So it's like just kind of like note cards or whatever. And like if you ever just like have like a day when you get bored, just kind of like do this, and like this is like an early start to it. So it's like every new tab you open is a new question, and this is just good practice, I think, personally. So this is what I did actually, and I think it was a great help, to be honest. So definitely highly recommend on that one.
Is there any way that you could send the link to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do that one more time.
Yeah, for sure. So let me X out of that. Hold on 2 seconds.
I wish I had known about that when I was studying for the DAT.
No, yeah, like I've had this on my actual like Google Chrome for like forever. I actually just took it off because I finished the DAT, I'm donezo, so I was like, okay, let's get this out of here. Like I don't want to look at this anymore. But you guys will be there eventually. So so yeah, you would just go to like, let's just say DAT Bootcamp Google Chrome extension. This only works on Google Chrome because yeah, it's a Google Chrome extension. So then you go here, Google or whatever it is. Okay, so let me just drop the link in the chat. It's the easiest thing to do. Where's my WhatsApp? Okay. Un momento. And so we're just going to put this here, Breeding Society, and enter, and dippity doo but yeah, so that's pretty much it there. And then you would just go here and just move the people automatically. And then right here it says remove from Chrome for me because I already have it downloaded. But let's just remove from Chrome so we're on the same page. So after this, you just click add to Chrome, add extension, it's checking. And then from there, you would just go to, I think it's here, this little puzzle piece. Okay, so puzzle piece. manage extensions here, and then you would just find it, and then you would just turn it on. So right here, this little button. And then from there, you just, new tab, just Control R or reload or refresh, whatever. I was in that. Okay, there we go.
Is it all biology or is it?
It's just biology, yeah. So, which is
So-
honestly like the hardest part. And biology will like honestly make or break your science score. Like, since it has 40 questions, it's weighted heavily or more heavily, compared to general chemistry, which only has 30 questions, or organic chemistry, which also has 30 questions. So since it has 40 questions compared to 30, that'll it has a heavier weight. So you want to make sure your biology score is like up to par. So some extra practice and definitely being proactive, like as I said before, is vital. Let's get this out of the mix. Okay, cool. So yeah, that's pretty much that. So let me stop sharing.
How did you guys join your DAT?
Personally, I got a 22 academic average and a 23 total science. And that was the second time I took it. The first time I took it, I got a 19 academic average and a 20 total science. And I will say, like, it was primarily due to like my biology background. So, like, I had to spend a lot more time studying biology because I had no idea, because I just came out of physics and organic chemistry, and the year prior was just general chemistry and humanities classes like religion and stuff, which has no relevance to that. So that was yeah. But yeah, so that was that for sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I got the same score. I got a 22. And for me, I'm like the opposite of everybody. For me, biology was always the easier section. It comes easier to me. Chemistry was my nightmare. But I got a 25 in bio, a 23 in orgo, and a 22 in Gen Chem. Only using boot camp. So that's why I'm saying you can get, it's not like a 26, like, destroy people get, but at least it'll get me to good schools or whatever.
Yeah,
And
with like those scores,
um,
you're solid. Like you're good. You're good.
yeah.
And if you apply early, it's over. You're getting in anywhere you want to go. Like
I wanted to say something about bio. If you're like tight on time and you don't have time to take like microbio and cell bio and all the extra classes, if there's one upper level class that I would 100% recommend you, in my opinion, is physiology. If you only can take one, just take physiology, because there's literally 10 chapters on that you have to know pretty much in depth about every single system in the body, and it's going to be so much easier if you already know that. So take physiology and actually learn, and it's going to be so much so much easier.
that's huge. I do agree. Physiology is a must for sure. Out of
Because
all the classes they have to take, physiology.
yeah, there's a chapter on developmental biology. I had no idea about that, but it's just a chapter. I learned it. There was a chapter in ecology. I took ecology, but if you haven't taken it, it's just a chapter, so you can learn it. But physiology, it's gonna be really hard to cram, like with all the other stuff that you have to do. Also learn all this humongous amount of information about the human body. So if you have to take one, just take that one. The rest you can kind of learn it.
I'm currently taking intermediate human physio. That's it?
That's the
PC?
one I took, and it
You're
was
gonna be
fine.
fine.
Oh, okay.
Another class that it wasn't mentioned in the list, but for me, it helped me a lot, cellular biology. If you can take cell bio will help you a lot. They cover a bunch of stuff. It kind of like overlaps a lot with physio. I took them together, and actually most of the things overlapped. So cell bio helps a lot. But if you have to take one, take physio, definitely.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Do we have any other questions? You guys, how are we feeling?
I have one last question.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys have bright futures, but I think bright futures you have to be like a full-time student. How can you adjust to maybe take off a semester just to study for the DAT? How does that work?
Me. I was gonna take the spring off. That was my plan. And then I learned that they were gonna take away my bar future if I do that. So I just couldn't. You just can't. You have to do it on the summer if you don't want to lose it.
So you take 15, 15, and then 0 during summer?
Yeah.
Or-
I took like a normal 12 credits or 13, I remember, in the spring, and then I didn't take any classes in the summer. And from the day after my last final, I started working, studying for the DAT, and then I took the DAT literally 3 days before this semester started. So I spent the whole summer studying for it.
Okay, good tips.
Because otherwise I would lose my bright futures.
Yeah.
And Bright Futures, the requirement for full-time in the summer is like 8 credits, I believe. So it's kind of easier to get away with it.
They
From what
require,
I read.
I believe it's 30 credits in a year. I'm not sure, but they require like a minimum amount of that you need to be full-time that you can do in the fall and spring, and then you can afford to just take the summer off and they won't take it away. So
You
So
studied
do you,
Monday
like,
through. Oh.
I'm sorry, you can go first.
Oh, I was gonna ask if you studied Monday through Friday, like Camille, because you studied for 3 months, right?
I studied for 3 months, yeah. So the thing is, I had to make my own schedule to make it work around my work schedule. So I pretty much studied from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And then the other 3 days I work. So I would wake up like at 4 or 5 a.m. because I love studying in the morning. I can't study past 8, like 9. It's just, that's not me. I'd rather just wake up early, and I would study until I had to leave for work. So honestly, what I did, this is how I broke it down. So I did like bio all the time. Like the first 2 months I studied only like review material and practice questions, and I would do bio with chem, and then I continued bio with organic chemistry, and I would do that Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And then Tuesday and Thursday I had less time because I worked like at 11 or whatever, like COVID time. I would do 1 week BAT and then the other week QR, like the math portion. And that's how I did it. Like you don't need to follow anybody else's schedule. Like, you can make your own, and it worked for me. So just work it around your own schedule.
So Camille, you did 30 credits between fall and summer. I mean fall and spring.
I might be tripping. Let me see. I don't remember because I do know that I checked. No, never mind. Okay, so you need 12 credits in the fall. You need 24 credits in a year, in an academic year, to be considered full-time, and so they don't take away your bright futures. So you can do that by taking 12 credits in the fall and then 12 credits in the
Oh, okay, awesome.
that way you can take,
I was worried. I was gonna have to
yeah,
take.
sorry. I think the maximum number of credits that you can take is 30, but the minimum is 24. So you're good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions, guys?
I think you can take more than 30 credits in a year for bright futures. Can't you? I probably have.
Well, I'm just saying this from the top of my head, but I might be wrong. But I do know that you need a minimum of 24.
Yeah, no, because I'm doing the math, and I usually like my schedule is usually like around 13 credits, like fall and spring semesters, and I take like over 8 during the summer. So
it's probably like a minimum of 24.
Just don't listen to me too much. Just disregard that part. Just the minimum. Stay with the minimum. 24. Yeah. And with that, you're good. You can take your summer off.
Got it.
But if you have bright futures, yeah, you can't afford to do the spring off and study. You can do that.
Yeah.
You don't mind losing it.
All right. Do we have any more?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I'm finishing Orgo 2 right now, and I wanted to take the DAT like, I don't know, January, April. I don't know when. I felt like studying now during COVID, since I don't have to drive on campus, because like I live in Broward, so like not driving kind of just like helps a lot because I can study more and not waste time on driving. So I've been having a lot of time to study. So I was thinking of like just, taking classes and then studying for the DAT, but like I don't know if that's doable, like taking 6 classes and then studying for the DAT. So how's that? Like, what do you guys?
You can start studying the bio section again. I believe again, like bio section is, I don't want to say the hardest, but it's the most time-consuming section of the DAT. So you can have your schedule of doing it. I don't know when you want to do it, spring or summer. Which one?
I don't know, like April or something.
So you're planning to take it on April. So you have to start studying in winter, basically. And what is it? In spring. So why did I say spring? Winter, whatever. So I would say that start studying for your biology section, because trust me, if you get that section done, like you'll fly through the schedule, like literally fly through. When the bio section, the biology notes are literally free on the bootcamp website. So you just go on the bootcamp website, you download the 120 pages condensed note, and there's the bigger version, which is the 500 pages, and there is, let's say, 25 chapters, I believe, or 24. So if you do one chapter a day, now that you have a lot more time and you take notes, you go through, let's say, the flashcards since you have time again, and get that done. And if you can review it again, once you start in spring, you'll be like amazing, like Gucci for sure.
Okay. So you think I can do classes and studying at this time, right?
Yeah, because I really don't think classes are as hard as DAT. Like, it's not comparable at all. Now, I don't want to say hard again, time consuming.
Okay.
Like, even with hard, like, you'll have like 3 hours a day free time, so you can like put 1 hour, just 1 hour, 2 hours studying for the DAT.
Okay. And when you guys say that people study during the summer, I'm confused because like the application process starts June 1st. So like do people take it after June 1st and then submit their applications when like
Again, I think I mentioned it before. You can submit your application before you take the DAT. So people, what they do is that they submit their application on June and then they take the test on August, or let's say July, whenever they feel comfortable. But that's just like a little bit of pressure that you have to do great. If you don't do great, you're kind of like screwed because your application is in already, you paid already, and you have to basically wait. Let's say 1% chance you do bad, you have to wait like 3 months and then take it again. So it's a whole process. So, and either way, they don't kind of like review your application without the DAT. So I believe if you like take the DAT like July, even July, and apply, even at the end of July, you'll be 100% Gucci. Like, but again, it depends person to person. When you're ready to take the test, when you're 100% ready to apply, when you have the money to apply, so all of that comes in. Like, yeah.
But Sophia, you want to take like 6 classes and study for the DAT during the spring, and then take it at the end of the spring? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, because like I graduate either spring or summer, depending on how do I split my classes up. So I was just like, I know it's doable because I've seen videos on YouTube, people saying like I took classes and I also studied. So I'm like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. But like I don't want to like drain myself, you know.
I thought you meant like taking classes now and studying for the T stars. That okay, if you're actually like taking how many credits?
6 classes. So I don't know, like 15 or 16.
Yeah, I would not. I definitely would.
Okay, so think about it. Like a normal day studying for the DAT is going to be like, okay, sit down at 8 a.m. Like when you're doing practice exams, which is the most time consuming thing ever, just wake up, you do a practice test or 2 or 3, whatever, 3 sections. That's going to take about 3 to 4 hours. And reviewing this exam is going to be a good 5 hours because you have to like really do it in depth, like go over every single question and all that. Then if you want to do a little bit of practice, because PAT and QR, you cannot lack on that. You have to be on top of it every day, practicing a little bit. So that's going to be maybe an extra hour. Then you have to review bio content, or maybe something that you don't remember, or maybe you have to go back, and that's going to take probably like 2 more hours. So it's very time consuming. The thing is, you have to keep going back to all the information, because if you did like chapter 1 of bio and then you haven't looked at that chapter anymore 3 months after that, you're not going to remember it. It's like you never studied it. So it's very time consuming. So I personally would do it with only 1 class, but just I would try to not take any classes, because honestly it took a lot of time for me. If I was taking classes, I would have died. I'm so grateful that I didn't, because it's really, really time consuming. And 6 credits on DAT, you're either going to be miserable or you're gonna waste.
Or I'm gonna cry. This shit has me stressed. Oh my god, okay.
Honestly, think of this as an investment of money. You're investing
sorry, that was my mom. You're investing $500 for the exam, and then you're investing on whatever program you buy is going to be a minimum of what, like $400 or whatever. So it's a lot of money. So, you have to go into it like really, I'm going to spend this amount of money. Let's try to just do it once and do it right. So try to do it right the first time.
That's true. And there's no rush. If you want, you can graduate, I don't know, spring, summer. There's no rush to push all of this stuff together, to be honest. What's gonna happen at the end is that you're gonna have a gap year, and gap year is actually great. So there's literally no one is gonna trust me. People don't care if you get into dental school next year or the following year. Go by your mental health actually, because you'll see once you start studying for the DAT, like it's so much material, it's so much pressure alone. The test by itself that I personally I've been having breakdowns. So, and I know my friends did too. So make sure you give yourself at least like 1 hour a day free time, because if not, you'll go crazy. And if you're taking 6 classes with the DT, that's not like you're not a robot. Like no one's a freaking machine to like do all of that stuff together. So yeah.
I don't know if you will do either failing your classes or you're not gonna do well in the DT.
That's facts. That's facts.
It's impossible to fit that into one day. Yeah, sure.
I haven't taken the DT, but I've been looking, like, in my opinion, like I'm gonna be taking like a gap year. But like I just looked at my situation. I was like, okay, I could either just stress myself out and do bad in my classes and do decently maybe on the DAT, but like I'm not gonna be giving it my all to anything. I'm just gonna be like basically running around back and forth. So for me, I want to be the strongest applicant that I can, and I want to put myself in the best situation to just go through the application process once so that I don't waste money and so that everything is pretty much like up to the standard that I'm setting, So like at that point I decided, like, you know what, I'm not gonna stress myself like with like taking like 12 credits plus studying plus filling out the application plus like getting all this stuff done. That's just gonna like not only affect my mental health, but it's gonna affect like my classes and it's gonna affect my GPA at the end of it, which is also something that's very important for like dental school that they're gonna look at. So I was just like, like I know we've all been conditioned to think of a gap year as like wasting your time, but your time is just what you do with it, right? So I like the fact that I think it was there was a speaker. I don't remember if it was the pre-dental student, the dental student that were talking or the doctor.
It was Shani that came last year and made it super like bad to take a gap year, which it affected like me personally too. That she's like, oh my God, you're wasting your time, but you're not. Like you're really not. You're just everyone has their own time again. An average of ages in dental school is like 24 above. Trust me, no one's there 21-year-old. And if there is a dental student, 21-year-old is one out of, let's say, 100 people in the class. So there's literally no rush. Put your mental health first, and your like do everything, like balance everything out. You don't have to rush anything, which I wish someone gave that advice to me personally, because I thought, oh my God, 1 year gap year is going to be terrible this time. And now I'm just like, wow, like I actually need a gap year.
Does a 1 year gap year mean like starting dental school after 5 years of undergrad, or is it 4?
So 1 year gap year means that, for example, let's say you graduate in 4 years your undergrad, you apply to dental school on June, right? The whole application and interview process takes a whole year. So once you graduate,
start a year later.
Yeah, on April, and you submit your application on June, and let's say if you want to take your DAT in August, you submit your DAT, you get your interviews at the end of August or the beginning of August, and you get your acceptance on December, and after December you have a whole, let's say, semester left to do whatever you want. But again, with that gap here, dental schools are kind of like, I don't want to say strict, but they want you to not kind of waste time. So if working at a dental office will be a really, really good option, because again, like they're gonna ask you, what did you do with your gap year? And if you just say, hey, I traveled, I partied, like they're gonna be like, okay, bye. But if you actually say, I worked at a dental office, I got a lot of experiences, I continued shadowing, and let's say I continue volunteering, these are the stuff that really good looks good on your gap year.
So
Yeah,
that
like
gap year,
yeah.
that's after, like, isn't that after you get accepted though?
No, so the thing is, for example, I'm taking a gap year. So you take a gap year when you apply to dental school, it's a senior, meaning in your fourth year rather than your third year. Usually people applying the June of their third year, and then they go to interviews, they do all the process during their senior year, and then as soon as you graduate, you start dental school, right? So if you apply during your senior year, during your last year, like me, all that process that takes a year, you're not going to be in school for that year. So for example, I graduated 2021, but I started in the class of 2020. I start in 2022. You know what I'm
Yeah, I get you.
Okay.
Okay, guys, any more questions? It's almost 8. We've been here for 2 hours.
Do you guys
How?
recommend flashcards?
Oh, I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
Do you guys recommend doing flashcards like for the material, or
If
it's
you have time, yes. If you have time, yeah, for sure.
I didn't do them because I don't like them, but if you like them, that's fine. That stack of flashcards, they overwhelms me so much. So I just rather, what I did, especially for bio, is just take notes and just go over the notes. But flashcards overwhelm me. I don't like them.
It's all about your own method of study, really. It's about picking a method of study that is productive to you and to your particular style of learning. If you learn more about like doing that process of making the flashcards or like drawing pictures or whatever it is you're better at, like receiving like information from, or whether it's just watching videos, if you're more of an auditory learner, it's about figuring that out and making the best of your time, because you don't want to study with a method that doesn't work for you, because you're just wasting time at that point.
Exactly. So flashcards personally doesn't work for me. First time when I read the bio notes for the DAT, I just read through it like an article, and that was a terrible idea, to be honest. Now this is the second time I'm going through it, and I'm actually like, I have a sheet of paper with each chapter, and I'm writing the stuff down, not everything, because there's a lot of information, the most important, let's say, stuff in the chapter, and that helps me a lot. So I'm making like little roadmaps for myself, like if anything, like if there's, let's say, like 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm writing it down again, like repeating it. And something else that I heard someone told me is that you can, for biology section, you can record your voice. I don't know how's that gonna work. I've never done it before, but I've heard like a lot of people actually do it. You can record your voice for, let's say, chapter 1, chapter 2, and then once you're driving, I don't know, to work, or when you're going for a walk, because you have to like get out of the house at some point. If not, you'll go crazy. You can have that on and then listen to it, and basically that'll be a review too. So that's another like plus with this whole like recording yourself.
Maybe somebody else had a question.
Yeah, so I'm currently a senior and I was planning on taking a gap year and taking my DAT for the first time. I'm taking it December 26th, but I was using iPrep and now I'm really scared. So, and it's in 2 months, and now I'm thinking of adding, more resources like you guys said, boot camp, and I have 6 classes. So, yeah. So I just wanted to know like what advice you guys have, and like considering I'm also going to be applying this year and shadowing. And
I was in your situation. I took Shani, and in the middle, I mean, in the middle of her practice test, 20 people told me, "Oh my God, don't take it. This is bad. Like, bad scores. I don't know, 17, 18 with it." I was like, "Wow, I just wasted my time and
I know
and my money." But what you can do is like get boot camp, because I'm going through all the chapters again. Get boot camp, because Mike, he teaches you some of the stuff differently than Shani does. So it's good to know both of them. I prefer Mike 100% over Shani's explanations, but I would say get boot camp and then go over boot camp. But again, boot camp alone with the bio, I feel like it's not enough, because you can get lucky, get the version that corresponds with boot camp, but you can get unlucky and get the other version that doesn't correspond. So I know it's a waste of money, to be honest, but I would get bootcamp definitely do their practice test as well because bootcamp is amazing with all of the topics except bio, which is a 50-50. And I would get booster 2 if you have the money, just to be sure 100%.
Okay. Do you think with the time I have left though, and utilizing those resources, it's doable?
It is
okay.
doable. You have
And
to,
with 6 classes.
what classes you're taking? It depends on the class.
So I am taking physio and micro, and I'm taking stats 2 and genetics.
Are you okay?
Yeah, dude, rip.
Are
those
those
are all
classes
around,
with
like-
labs or just the classes?
With the labs.
Oh.
Bruh. But I mean, those are
Yeah,
really
I'm
good courses to actually like
really-
prepare you for the biology section for sure. So that's good. Sorry for
When
my
are you
dog barking.
applying? Mena, Hugh, when are you applying?
I wanted to apply by this June, and now I'm like, I don't even, because this is my gap year. That like I'm taking a gap year. I'm a senior, and I'm applying this June.
Okay, if you're applying, if you wanted to apply this cycle, June is like, let's say the earliest you can apply. But again, as I said, you can apply at the end of July and still get like, I don't know, 10 interviews. So I think by that time you have time. You get me? Just make sure make sure you're taking classes right now that are kind of not easy, to be honest, and they require a lot of time. So make sure you get all of the program down and then take the test. Just don't go in with only Shani alone.
Yeah, at least try to
Okay.
have one more.
So-
If you have like 3 programs, to go crazy is too much. Plus, you don't need that much because it's just overwhelming. But try to do. I feel like I don't know. I love bootcamp. For me, it was enough for every single section, and bio was fine. Maybe I got lucky. I don't know. But honestly, bootcamp. I will get bootcamp out of all of them, especially, and try to focus on the sections that Shani doesn't really emphasize on, like for example, PAT, QR.
Yeah.
RC, like those sections, try to focus a little bit more on them, since either way IPR doesn't it does a decent job at preparing you for sciences, so try to focus on the ones that it doesn't prepare you that well. That would be my
Okay. So you guys think I'll be fine if, like, let's say, I mean, I really do feel like I'm gonna have to take it again because I put myself in a situation where I'm like really overwhelming myself. So like my first attempt would be December 26th, and then I would have 3 months and then take it like around March, and then that hopefully is my last time that I'll take it.
Yeah.
And then I should be able to apply by June or July, right? And I should be good.
Yeah, you're gonna be fine because again, it's 3 months to wait. So if you take it December 26th, and you can take it April again. I don't know. I don't know when you're taking it on December. Oh, you said 26 again. Yeah, April or March. So even if you take it April or March, that's super early for DAT. Again, you submit your application June 1st, and June 1st is the earliest day you can ever like submit your application. So that's so super
If
early.
you already invested this time and money, just take it. Like there's no shame in taking it like another time. Like a lot of people have to take it more than once. The ideal is that you don't have to, but if you have to, that's perfectly fine. You're not gonna be the only one. So if you have to take it again, that's fine. Like you're already in it, like you've already invested time and money, so you might as well take it because non-refundable. So just take it, maybe maybe it's some practice,
Exactly.
But, yeah, it's okay.
So hold on
Thank you
two
so much.
So I apologize for my dog barking if you guys hear it, but I mean, if you don't feel ready like at that time, just reschedule, because at the end of the day, if you can like push it back like 2 months and just spend like 100 more rather than taking it 475 and spending another 475, some's not end up there, like, you know what I mean? Like, you might as well just push it back and then feel ready and then be ready, and then you only take it one time, just call it a day, and then even if you push it back to February, what happened?
Be taking classes in the spring too, so it's gonna be the same thing.
Oh, most rip,
Then you're gonna have to
most
wait
rip.
3 more months, and it's gonna be just already,
Yeah.
It off though, that would be like a super high point on your application. Like, that's what I'm thinking.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Taking all those classes and getting a IDT. Oh,
I've heard that if you're studying for the DAT while taking classes, like if you do bad, you can kind of like it doesn't look back to justify like, oh, I was studying for the DAT, I was prioritizing that, so I didn't do as well in the classes. Like that's it doesn't look bad, but at the same time you're taking very important classes that dental school is gonna look at, physio, microbiome. And they're not gonna look at ecology or whatever. They're gonna look at those classes. So
Yeah.
I honestly would, try to get the best score that you can get in those classes, like an A or.
Make sure you do well on these classes first. Again, a lot of people do masters because of their GPA. You can take DAT 3 times, but doing a master, to be honest, in my opinion, is just a waste of time. It's 2 years.
Right? Yeah. I was thinking worst case, like I would have to do my master's, but you guys think I should just not do that, right? That's what I was thinking.
No, you don't need masters. It's not med school. It's not med school. Med school, yes,
Exactly.
you get it, but for dental school, you don't need masters.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
No problem. No problem, no problem. If there are any other questions, so never like hesitate to email, WhatsApp. We're like available 24/7, so whenever. So we're gonna cut this meeting probably right now, just because it's been 2 hours. But I love the questions though, for sure. But just message me for sure. So yeah, it's been slow. All right, later, guys.
Thank you.
I have one more quick question.
Go ahead.
Should I leave? Oh, okay. You can't apply and then
I'm not. None of us. I don't think I'm hearing what you're saying. You're cutting.
Yeah,
off.
it's cutting up. It's cutting up. Repeat the question one more time. We're kind of clear right now. So. She left?
She left.
Oh. Oh, jeez.
Okay, well.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
Later, guys. Later.
Bye, guys. Bye.
All right. Cool.